So what happens is, and I know, and this is why I do this, and I'll start this briefly and then we'll go into the live. The challenge is people have this expectation that everything is going to be perfect and it's got to go the certain way. And the willingness to flex and adapt is why I do this live. And so having said that, we're coming to you live Monday, December 17th. This is Meshell Baker, and this is Women of Sales and Influence, and it's sponsored by the National Association of Sales Professionals. And I love doing this platform because it gives the opportunity for you to meet amazing women like Cledra Gross. She's going to tell you about herself, but I want you to understand, if you're viewing this, that there is no perfect. There is an infinite number of ways that you are allowed to find your success. And the willingness to flex and adapt amidst circumstances when they do not go well is how you get to success and how you get further faster. And Cledra Gross is going to share some amazing information today about how to do that, right? So thank you for being here today, Cledra, and your patience and the flex that we called and text. It was like, we're going live. This is happening, y'all. So thank you, Cledra.
No problem. Thank you for saying what you said, because I think that's not talked about enough, that it's an imperfect journey, and that's a beautiful thing. There's actually beauty in that. And so this whole masquerade that it has to be a straight line, it doesn't exist. You know, maybe in geometry when we were in middle school, that's the last time we, had straight lines, right? So it doesn't, welcome to the real world. So that's the real world. So
absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm a fan of people of self-introduction because I like to hear people say things because I learn more about you. And this is the part of the sales that being able to brag on yourself in an eloquent manner is how we transform into having more sales. So please share with us about you.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, and I'm excited to be here. So I am a master life coach, and my passion is to help women understand that it's the mental chatter, the self-talk, where the transformation begins. And so once you get that self-talk in alignment with what you really want to create, that's when the weight goes, that's when the finances increase, that's when you step into exactly who you want to be. And I came into this work because my struggle used to be thinking that I could get the perfect strategy, which is why it's such a great segue, what you were talking about. And it isn't about a strategy, it's about your identity. And so that's the work that I specialize in, is helping people to be, women especially, it's my passion for women, to be in alignment with why they're even here, their ultimate purpose, and how we get in our way really from the inside out. It's not anything outside of us that's stopping us.
That's absolutely amazing. So one of the things I heard you talk about was self-talk and chatter. I'd love for you to share and expand. So I have notes here, but I'm always off the cuff because as it speaks to me, that's what I'm led to talk about. So I'd love for you to share more about how you came to understand that being the segue to success.
At the end of the day, well, I'll rewind a little bit. I am someone who initially believed in that linear process that you talked about, that, college, get into the college of my choice, secure that corporate job, marriage, all those things. But I ran into what everyone runs into at some point, circumstances beyond what you can control, and only to realize that they were always out of my control. When life is going exactly as you plan, it's just playing with you for a little while. That's not the way things go. And so I was blessed to have the life that I planned completely unravel and become ash, because in that unraveling, that's when I was able to really see that first and foremost, I'm not running this show. I'm a woman of faith. I believe that it is a surrendered life, and that I've been purposed here by something much bigger than me that I call God. And so in that posture of surrender is learning then what's talking to me on the inside and whose voice is that, and I had to really get in touch with that. And we all have these voices from childhood experiences, from disappointments, and from things that we go through that redefine the original purpose and the beautiful intent that we were sent here with originally.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, the chatter in my head is I always tell people the loneliest place and the most dangerous place for an individual to exist is inside your own head, right? Because without the training and the work, like you're speaking of, the voices are not in our favor, right? And that takes time. Right. So, one of the things your topic is about finding and focusing on that thing you want to transform more than anything. So, talk about that, about why is it important to now say, I got chatter going on, but I want transformation. So how does this happen? How do I discover the one thing that I want more than anything when the committee upstairs is just, I mean, they're running amok. They out of control, girl.
The first thing to realize is that we all have that monkey brain. I call it a monkey brain. It's just swinging all over the place, and it's the primitive brain. For those analyticals out there, that's the I call it the toddler brain, toddler or monkey. It's all over the map. It's like the terrible twos all the time. And so recognize that that's just a part of how we're wired. It's nothing to be afraid of, but it's something to really understand. And so when you understand that, where you're wanting to go, whatever transformation it is, whether it's a physical transformation, financial, whatever that end point is, and where you are now there's this gap. There's an intentional gap that's there. And in order to grow into and to close that gap, the emphasis has to be on the thinking of the person who has already completed the transformation, not on the activities. And I'll use weight as an example because that's an easy one for us to relate to. That's what a lot of women come to me for. So a lot of women will say, well, Cledra, tell me what to eat, how much to work out. And if that was all that was needed, we really wouldn't have an obesity epidemic. We don't live in a knowledge vacuum right now. You don't need me to really tell you what to eat and how to work out. But the thinking of a person who, your version in your best shape, is very different thinking than the person who is just manipulating the external things of food and water and workout. There's a thought that's driving the behavior that keeps you out of alignment and not completely filling that gap to allow you to progress towards the ultimate transformation.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And so even as I'm listening to you, right, I have things that I wrote down to ask you. I have the things that you sent me. And then I have the thoughts popping up, right? Committee all time, right? I have to tell people
Yeah.
our unconscious mind is running amok 100% of the day. As long as you're in awake state, unconscious is there, right? So you were talking about thinking the thought. So that's the next step. What is that work that you're doing, or what is the work that can be done to taper and tailor those thoughts, right? I just mentioned the three that I had consistent, three just in the minute, the small span that Cledra was speaking, I had three different thoughts pop up, and they are all three different pathways. So how can a person listening to this, what is that like? What does that mean? Thinking thoughts.
So I like to keep it at triple A is what I tell my clients. So the first thing is awareness. You want to be an observer and just be aware. The last thing you want to do is engage right away with each of those thoughts, because that's when it'll take you all over the place like that monkey brain or that toddler. So it's to step out and recognize that's what's happening and step out. So there's the awareness. And then there's the acceptance. Again, you don't want to resist. When you get in this posture of resisting this, you will lose 100% of the time. So when you accept it and just allow it to flow through, then the last A in this triple A process is deliberate, proactive action, not reactive. So it's awareness, acceptance, action. And this is action then when you step back and look, this is action that you're taking from what we call the prefrontal cortex. So this is more of the executive function part of our brain, where we can then get in alignment. Okay, what action do I need to take? I'm just watching this brain just go all over the place. I'm accepting that this is what's happening. This is just the toddler showing out right now. And so what action would be in my best interest? And in that moment, it's just a step. And this is where you can trip yourself up. It's not like, what do I do for the rest of my life? It's just the next step. Going back to weight, it would be just the next meal. Make that next meal in alignment with what you ultimately want to create in your life.
Yeah, okay. This is great. I love this. So I'm aware, I'm pausing, I'm not going to jump to conclusions anymore, right? I'm accepting where I am, and I know that that moving forward is absolutely necessary and it's important to me. So now I want to take action. But Cledra, I tried everything. I done tried stuff. It just don't work. So why is this going to be different? What's, how can I know for sure that this is going to be different?
So the way this is going to be different is that number one, there is no there. There's no endpoint. I promise you, most of the people watching, they had an endpoint. It was whether it was a number on a scale, a size jeans, a certain dollar amount in the bank, a certain marital status. We have this idea that something outside of us is going to make it all better. And when we get there, it'll all be great. And so the first point that how this is drastically different is that there is no there. This is who you be. So it's as if you would not ask me, Cledra, when can I stop brushing my teeth? It's like you wouldn't. So this is like just like we have oral hygiene, there's mental hygiene. And when you do this, this is cleanliness that you do daily. You wouldn't say, well, can I brush my teeth like 30 minutes a day and then not do it next week? No. So this is a practice. What I'm offering to all of you is a way of living that is a practice that you get up every day of your life and you subscribe to this, just like the brushing your teeth, everything you can think of that deals with hygiene. This is mental hygiene, and there is no end. As long as you are breathing, it continues. So that's the biggest way this is drastically different.
No, absolutely. And I love that you said that this is mental hygiene and there's no there. So it's just the process of getting your mind in those unconscious thoughts because they're not going away. Right. And the thing I love about this conversation is to remind people if you could have fixed yourself, you already would have. Right. If you could have taken care of those thoughts and got them on the line, I love the term take captive your thoughts. Had you been able to take captive those thoughts, you would have. So now's the time to elicit people like Cledra, myself. There's many other people out there, but to step outside of self and to seek that wise counsel so that you can have what you want. It's available to all of us, and it begins with your thoughts. So this is powerful. Cledra, I want you to share now. So we're at about I can't see the time. Oh no, we actually have more time. See, this is what happens when you don't wear glasses. If you watch my life, I refuse to wear glasses.
I love it.
So I want to keep sharing because this is so good. So I am at the space where now I know that getting guidance is the next step. I really want what I want, right? I know that I've lived this life to this point or whatever, wherever you are. And there are some things that I know that I'm capable of. I have those sparks of genius. I have those moments where I feel really good about myself. And I want those moments to be lasting. What would you tell someone who is, if it's any category of life, it doesn't have to just be weight. It could be your career, it could be your relationships, it could be your finances. What would you tell them now? And now that they know, right? I know I've been doing my 3 A's and I'm clear that I can't fix myself and I want to get some help. And what do I do now?
The next step is to find a person who has what you want already, a model, and then get a coach. I've had a coach, different coaches for the last 10 years of my life. I mean, and I coach this. So everyone that I know performing at the top of their game, they have a coach. It is impossible to step outside of yourself. If you think of professional athletes, and if you look at your life that way, are you trying to be a professional level or an amateur? And if you're trying to go pro in your life, then every pro has a coach. And even Tiger Woods, you would think, okay, who can coach him? And that coach doesn't have to have mastered what you have, but they have the ability to stand outside of you in a way that you don't. I don't. No one does, and to have an objective evaluation about your progress, because if you really want to make consistent progress towards this transformation, it's investing beyond intellectual property and investing in locking arms with someone who can guide you through the inevitable landmines that come up in true transformation. That's just a fact. They're inevitable, and left to our own, like you said so well, we will talk ourselves out of the very thing we need to do. And the smarter you are, the greater your excuses sound. You're gonna know the best of them out there. Really smart people really do a great job of holding themselves back.
Yes, an amazing job. I've been one of those people, so I know.
Yes.
I'll admit it.
Yes.
I'm confessing to the public now.
Right.
So next step is to get that coach. I always say there's 3 ways to go about this: a course, a coach, or a community, because all 3 of these ways begin to give your unconscious, the committee, new references, right? So right now they're running a mess because the only thing they have is your past and where you are currently, and your current keeps sourcing the past because you haven't given it anything new. So I love that coaching. I'm a person who keeps a coach as well, right? I tell people one of the traits of successful and wealthy is they don't waste time trying to figure it out. So talk to me about, or talk to the folks listening about, how do I go about acquiring a coach? Because everybody and their mother says they wants to be a coach, right? So how do I know that who I'm investing in is actually someone who is an actual coach and not someone who just took an online course or went to a weekend seminar or just decided I can coach?
Oh my gosh, you said a mouthful right there. Where do I begin? I begin with the fruit. I always tell people, you look at the results, not the conversation. Turn the volume down and watch the show. And have they created the results that you want? And I don't mean because they did it in 30 days, but do you have proof that you can look at fruit? The real thing produces real fruit. And so that's the first point. And you'll be able to tell, because have they gone through a journey? I always look, every coach I've ever hired, they've had that low, because I like to link arms with people that I know they can go through difficulties. Yes. And so, and coaches who are out front, just like you, Meshell, people who are putting themselves out there day after day, they don't go ghost and like reappear totally new. So it's that consistent on the edge. You see them up, you see them going through struggles and difficulties, and they are still on the front line. That's a coach that I would hire. The 2 of us, it's people who we're not hiding the imperfections, like just even getting this live together. So it's looking at the fruit in their lives, and not just money, not just weight, but really the fruit of their life, their life. And I hope you all get what I'm saying. It's just, when you're around certain people, even online. I mean, I met my husband online. You can pick up a lot of things even online, talking to people, and you can tell or sense, okay, this is hype or this is really substance.
Yes.
There's a lot of hype out there. There are a lot of people who will get you excited or make you feel horrible about your life, or tell you what to do. And for the record, that is not coaching. That is not coaching. People will say, oh, I've been telling my girlfriends what to do for a long time. That's not coaching. That is not coaching. That's a big misconception. But the art of coaching, the skill of coaching, takes people who have invested in that skill set and then implemented it over time to actually demonstrate that they have mastered the skill of coaching, which is not telling people what to do.
Absolutely. Oh, that was just bravo. Very well said, because that is one of my areas of, and you said there are many people who think that because they like to tell people to do what to do, that they make a good coach. And that is not the art of coaching, because the whole point of coaching is that I help you become better at you, not better at me. If I'm telling you what to do, you're just becoming better at me.
Right. So, it's not a coach who's stamping out little mini-me's of themselves. That's not coaching,
Yes. So, well, we're wrapping up on time here. So I'd love for you to share your closing wisdom and how people can get in contact with you. And we will be posting whatever she tells you. We'll put in the link once this uploads so that you can go back if you're doing the replay, and you'll know how to stay in contact with Cledra. So yes, please share with us those little pearls. as we
So
wrap
what
up.
I'll say, remember the AAA, that be aware, be the observer, be accepting and loving. You cannot hate your way into transformation. It has to be a loving acceptance of where you are right now, and then taking that action. And that action, independent of the transformation you want in 2019, it must be built on a healthy foundation. My passion is getting people as healthy as they can from the inside out, because that's where you take action from a point of clarity when you are in the best health and shape. And that's not about a weight, that's about being in your function of peak performance. And so I have the free gift of reprogramming your mind for sugar. That may seem like a turn, but again, this is about optimal performance, peak performance, and living energized every day. And Meshell's going to post that link, and you can get this download to help you to just clean up from the inside, and then you'll make decisions from a healthier place and from a place of clarity.
Yes, and I will say personally, I have reached out to Cledra on several occasions when it comes to health and weight, and I'm a part of her no sugar challenge right now because again, they've shown with study and research that mice or rats become more addicted to sugar than they do cocaine. And again, if you're watching this, it's because you desire success in some area of your life, and mental acuity, your brain on sugar is not a great place, right? So
that's right.
The healthier you are with the intake of your food, the hydration, and Cledra is a master at this. The more you creative you are, the more solutions oriented you are. So again, I want to thank you guys for watching. Cledra, I want to thank you for sharing your wisdom and your patience and just your eloquence and elegance as we were able to get this up and running. So this is Meshell Baker. This is the Women of Sales and Influence, sponsored by the National Association of Sales Professionals. And one of the things I want to share with you, if you are watching this and you're looking for success in any area of your life, business or professional, that means you're interacting and having conversations with people on a regular basis. And the National Association of Sales Professionals is a great place to start looking at how you're conversing, right? Are you looking at someone who is trying to always convert people to your client? Or are you actually showing up as a value add? And that's one of the areas that we are masterful at helping people to turn that around so that your client conversions go up in a very short period of time. So check out NASP.com for your free membership. I look forward to connecting with you over there and staying in contact with you on Women of Sales and Influence. We'll be taking a 2-week break, and I will see you guys because the next Monday is Christmas Eve and then New Year's Eve, and I don't think you guys will be joining me then because I'm not, but I'll see you Monday, January 7th. And thank you for joining. Thank you, Cledra. Stay there. I am going to go off live, and then I'll have some private time. Bye, y'all.